as we know it, forever altered in a pandemic.
After something like this, you don't expect things like this to happen.
Uncertainty remains as the Empire State begins to reopen.
From the economy to education, the future in question.
Can you say for sure at this point whether students will go back to school in September?
Staggering unemployment. Billions already paid out in benefits.
Tonight, your Upstate News teams sharing your stories.
And giving you a preview of what life could look like in the new New York.
The COVID-19 pandemic has changed us and our way of life. Good evening. I'm Doug Emblich.
And I'm Jenny Ryan. Tonight we are joined by our sister stations in Syracuse and Albany as we take a closer look at what may lie ahead. Daily routines all seeing an epic shift, even now as New York State starts to reopen.
It was the most routine part of the day.
Get up, get dressed, get on the school bus, and off to a day of classes with friends. Gossip at the lunch table and recess out to the jungle gym. Well, now that school day schedule is as big of a question as anything we are facing in this pandemic.
And with the education of our future leaders on the line, our children, it's imperative that this problem is solved the right way.
For a lot of school leaders, that starts with a framework of how to re-envision the school day with the health of students and staff at the forefront. That guidance has been slow coming. Just last week, the CDC issued some guidelines for schools to consider. It advised closing communal spaces like cafeterias if possible, cleaning frequently touched surfaces.
Also modifying the layout in the classroom and having students and teachers wear masks when possible. But also noted there are exceptions to so many of these things, as each school district and each student is different. Those guidelines have a lot of leeway in them.
And that's leaving both primary school districts and colleges across upstate New York coming up with ideas and more ideas, hoping they will have it right by the fall.
We've heard from parents who are impressed with how their children are handling it. And we've heard from families that are fraying around the edges and calling out for help. I know because some of them have written to me. My 6-year-old son, who used to be the first to sleep of my 3, is now up nearly every night until 2 or 3 in the morning, Rebecca told me. I have insomnia myself, so I'm not surprised, but it's sad to imagine that their minds must be racing as badly as mine. Mindy says my 5-year-old child is always worried if any of us leave the house that we're going to catch the virus, so she yells at us if we have to leave. And about his 10-year-old son, Jason said, lately comments like, never mind, I don't want to talk about it, have become more frequent. He's also spending more time by himself, away from family, which isn't typical behavior. He is tired all the time as well. And that's just a sampling of some of what you've told me about children who are gaming more, talking less, children whose sleep patterns are way out of whack, and who are now noticeably more moody and angry. What are mental health experts most concerned with? What will be the biggest challenges navigating what comes next with so much new anxiety? I'm joined now by Dr. Tanya Pelletieri, a child and family psychologist who practices in Syracuse. Tanya, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I was blown away when I put this out on Facebook by the number of comments that were directly related to sleep.
Yeah.
They're up all night. It's like there's no control over the sleep anymore. That seems pretty fundamental and pretty troubling.
It does, because sleep and a good night's sleep are so connected to so many other functions of children. You know, it's a result of so many different activities that have changed with the pandemic. One of the things you mentioned is that kids who already had a strong baseline of anxiety, those anxieties tend to come to life at night. That's when the body is supposed to be settling down. There aren't all those distractions, and that's when those little minds are racing. But a lot of other reasons are at play here too. And up until recently, the weather has been bad. So kids just haven't been getting the exercise and getting outside and that fresh air that really does tire them out and wind them down.